So, I've been using the same chisel I used before to tap this screw around here, and I think I've about got it. I had to unfortunately destroy the oil pump housing, but that's okay because we don't need it anyway. So in here, get my finger out of the way. So in here, oh yeah, there we go. Yes. It's also fucked. So there's a screw here that's in the way of that screw for me getting my pipe wrench thing on it. So let's get rid of him, and hopefully I might be able to get this thing free. Oh god, the bloody thing's coming apart now. So the pump base bit there is still attached, it's just the bloody internals that are coming out of it. There's that. What does this do? I'm assuming I still need to get that off. So that's a bit of oil pump that was stuck inside the engine. In the end I had to use brutality to get it out because it just wasn't coming. I don't think I've damaged the inside of there too much, particularly the bit where the seal goes. I've got a replacement plug thing that goes in here that will do the job of sealing it off. So I need to clean all that out, get all the gunk and grime and oil and shit off it, and then we'll be ready to put everything back together. So the ignition cover on the black bike is damaged, so I've pinched this one off the red bike and cleaned it up. This is the clutch cover from the black bike, which I've cleaned up mostly, ready for paint, but it's got a cracked off bit there. So I've decided on this one, I've already taken off the ignition cover, as you've seen, and we're gonna have this journey together of taking the clutch cover off and having a look. Obviously I've got to take that cushion drive sprocket thing out of here anyway, because that broke. I only broke one screw trying to get this off as well. I think it's held on by, there we go, I think it's held on by the gasket at the moment. There we go. It's not actually looking too bad inside, is it? As I suppose you'd expect, because it's completely sealed. That there that looks like a bearing, I've been trying to find a replacement bearing for it for ages, and it turns out it's actually just a bushing, so that makes it a bit easier. But I think we'll probably go with this clutch cover and paint it, purely because it's not got the snapped off bit on it, so that's good. And then we can take the clutch off, take this off. I probably won't show you all that. In fact, I'm barely showing you it now because I'm not holding the camera right. So yeah, I'll take that off, put that on the new engine. It's literally just the top plastic bit off this sprocket, so that should be easy enough to do. I might even be able to do it without taking the clutch out, possibly, if there's clearance in there, which there doesn't really look to be. And then that's it for all the parts I need out the engine off this bike. I will need other bits as well, and for some reason this bit here has a plastic cover that goes over it. This one actually is in quite good condition, So I'm going to save that for the white bike, and we'll take whatever else we need off this as well as we go along. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that. So this clutch cover has been sat in paint stripper all night in a bag because the paint was already flaking off and horrible, so I'm going to have to redo it anyway. I figured it would be better to start with a blank canvas. So I'm going to now clear it off with some steel wool and get it painted. Right, let's put this engine back together. Okay, so the first job is replace this kickstart seal. Now I've finally got one. Should be an easy enough job. Just pull it out. Well, it needs a wipe though. Clean all the gack out of it. Put some instant gasket on it. Not much, just a little smear. Push it in, job's a coconut. Cool. Kickstart shaft. Got two of these Kaya 6203 C3 bearings. I'm getting them out of the freezer one at a time. They've been in there a few days, just literally to contract them enough to get them in, but obviously time is of the essence. He says not being able to get the bloody thing open. Don't want them to warm up, particularly the outer race. The point of contact with the balls and the races isn't that big, so you can kind of get away with holding it by the middle there and it won't expand the outside. However, I'm doing this in the sunshine. I think we might have missed our opportunity there, hasn't Hannah? I don't know how much you saw of that, but both crank bearings are now in and ready to go. So next job is to smear instant gasket on this surface here, ready to put the crank in. I need a very thin layer, because what we don't want it to do is spill over into places where it shouldn't be. Just a thin smear should do it. I'll work fast as well because it's quite hot today and I'm working in the sunshine, so what I don't want is for it to all start setting before I've had a chance to put it all together. Right, I think that'll probably do it. A little bit more there, I think. Okay. Now I'll have to be quick because the crank's frozen. And the more it warms up, the less likely it is to fit in those bearings. Yes, one in. Put that in the right position. Come on. Shit, what a silly boy. Right, draw that the rest of the way together with the screws. Yes. So, the reason that it wouldn't go all the way on was because it's resting on that and pushing out of that bearing a bit. So as soon as I did it sideways, it pushed together, and I just clamped it in with these screws that hold the case together. Now, I'm replacing all the case screws with stainless steel cap head, because they're a lot less horrible than the stock ones. It's looking pretty good so far. Let's get putting the clutch side back together now. Okay, clutch side seal is 2345 by 7. No, 2335 by 7. And I've put this little spacer thing in there already. That can just slide in. I might put some RTV on that actually. Don't know how deep it's supposed to go, so I just pushed it flush in case there's an oil way behind it. And then this fork thing on. Need a screwdriver for that, I think. So, here is the old one. As you can see, I cracked it getting it off. I thought it was plastic, but it's just very brittle metal, basically. And so, I took that out of the red bike, which is in surprisingly good condition, and the rubbers are decent as well. So, we'll stick with that for now, but I've got that as a spare if the rubbers wear out or anything. Woodruff key in. clutch going the other way. This beast on, and that beast on. It will go. Will it go? Where will it go? Suboptimal. There we go. Woodruff key. Needs to go in. The nut from that doesn't seem to be there, but I'm not going to let that worry me. I've got another one. Possibly the same one as I had there, but this is off the red bike anyway. I took that off the crankshaft before I installed it, that's why I'm not putting it back on. Rattle it up in the slot. Kickstart quadrant. All the way in. That little pin goes through the bottom hole there. Slide it on the shaft and get a pick. Clean one preferably. And pull this hook around and over that pin. There we are. Oh, fuck box. Tell you what, we'll do that bit last. That kickstart shaft mates in with that. Yes, that's it. Lovely. So those go together. And that with the... I filled up my SD card at some point, didn't notice, so that side's back together now. Sorry about that. I can talk you through anything once I've watched back and seen what's missing. But basically it just came back together the same way that I took it apart.
As far as I can tell, the only thing you missed was the clutch. So starting bottom right, you see number 10 there is a circlip, then there's a washer, then there's a sprocket, then the clutch itself is that mess in the middle, and then finally the clutch bell and the retaining circlip.
Okay, so it's nearly a week later, because that's how long it's taken me to find time to finish this off. I'm painfully close, but let's carry on. Pick up where we left off. So I'm going to put some 10W40 on this gasket. I think the main purpose of this is to stop it sticking, but I mainly do it because I've seen lots of other people do it. Feel free to do the same. I've also seen people put instant gasket or RTV on gaskets as well. I don't know what the... Well, I'm assuming the thinking behind that is it's less likely to leak if it's got the gasket and the RTV. It seems like a bit of a waste of time to me. I've done it before a few times. I suppose there are situations where it would be handy. Right, so that is coated both sides. I think also it possibly being soaked all the way through already when you put it on means that it's going to swell slightly and fill in any gaps after a short period of time, because I'm guessing the oil isn't going to seep all the way through and coat the whole thing like this for quite a while if you just put it on dry. But what do I know? Also, what do I know? What is going on here? That way around, right. Got him. That is the wrong way round. God, we're missing a pin as well. Ah, yes. So that's the old cover, which I didn't restore because it's, where is it? Yeah, that bit's snapped off and that one's got it, so I used that one. This has been painted, but what I haven't done is taking the locating dowel out of this. So now I've got to work out how to do that without damaging anything. So the worry here is that I'm going to deform this little dowel, but I'm hoping being gentle is going to make it so it comes out easily. Let's try that one. One of these should be loose, that one. Not gripping too hard, not letting the teeth of the grip slip on there. Are they coming out? Yeah. Oh, there we are. We were so close to being out, I pulled it out when I wasn't expecting it. There we are. So I was going to try and put them both in the cover side of things, so I could just put this over the whole lot, but that wasn't going to work, so I'll just do it like that. That's close enough. One, two locating dowels located, hopefully. On there. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully it'll become self-explanatory, if it isn't already. Right, so this should be fully lined up. I've decided to go Allen key on everything that I can, in the hope that it will be more difficult to strip out and easier to get apart again next time, but we will see. Right, we're going to flip it over now, and so as not to damage the paint, I'm going to use that pink fleecy thing. Because it's time for the dreaded, yeah, these are all tight, time for the dreaded flywheel, but first I need to find the right seal that fits on there. Okay, that was easy. It was the first one I picked out. 17 by 35 by 7. I believe it's one commonly used in Tomos. So, get some gasket sealer on it, on the outside. Go from there. The trick with these is not to push them in too far. I think I'm about right there. Wipe off the excess. And that should be about okay. Next up, this dreaded thing, which took ages to get off. It plugs through. Lucky for me as well, this only goes on one way, which means I don't have to time it, which is nice. I'm going to pull that rubber grommet up the cables a bit if I can. Appears to be absolutely jammed on. I'm just thinking of making it easier to pull it through the hole. There we are. And after the debacle from the last one, I've got little Allen-headed screws, enough to do a few engines. No problems there, hopefully. Because the countersink, it should set the timing exactly where it needs to be. So I'm going to do them up almost tight, so they've still got a little bit of wiggle, and then tighten them up one at a time. Brilliant. Flywheel next. Let's give it a bit of an internal wipe out. Make sure there's nothing stuck in there. Leaves. Woodruff key in the groove. $17mm socket. I will torque this up at a later date. I don't think I've got time today. There's a few bits need torquing up. That is hand tight anyway. So in here we have the base gasket, which I'm going to put some two-stroke oil on. Much in the same way as I did with the other gasket, except I'm using two-stroke instead of $10W40, because that's what it'll be in contact with. Whereas the other one is going to be sat in a bath at $10W40 when I fill it up. So that's interesting. It's supposed to be a 60cc top end, but the 50cc gasket fits perfectly. Interesting. Hopefully it is a 50, because then I won't have to tune the carb and faff about with things. It'll just work. So I'm mildly worried about the fact that the restriction, or one of the restrictions on this, is in the exhaust. So will that cause problems that there's now even more exhaust gases trying to escape and it's restricted passage? So let's make sure the ring gaps are lined up with the pins. So we'll put plenty of two-stroke down the bore, make sure it's nice and coated. I want it to be as lubricated as we can going in. And we've got to make sure that the gaps in the piston rings line up perfectly with the little pins in the piston, because otherwise you'll break your rings putting the piston in. You really don't want that. Just notice as well the piston on the top. Let's see if you can see it. Top of the piston says standard, so I think we may have a 50cc top end, hopefully. Now, whether the previous owner realised that, or whether he thought he was scamming me, I don't know, but I am absolutely fine with that, because as I said, it's less work and less worry for me, and now I know I don't need to upgrade the exhaust or anything like that. So, as you can see, the gap lines up with that pin there. There's another one around here that lines up, so it's time to go for it. So what I like to do is squeeze the top pin ring together as hard as I can. You can't really see, can you? As tight as I can. Okay, let's get this lined up first. 3, 4, right. Squeeze that together as tight as I can. Now there's these gaps here where you can get your fingers in. Squeeze it there. So it aligns with the gap. Now that ring is stuck out a little bit, but it should hopefully go. Right, that's the top one on. Now turn the bottom one so you can feel it hit the pin either side, so you know you're in the gap. Then hopefully, don't force it, but hopefully with a bit of wiggling it should go on. He said, letting it go. Want the piston up as high as you can as well, really, without getting the skirt caught on the edge of there. There we go. Once it's on, it'll slide nicely down. The head gasket. There we go. Again, not talking anything up yet. These will be very easy to talk up later on anyway, with them being external. Now I pull all the nuts and bolts out of my pocket until I find 4 M6 flanged nuts, which I know are in here somewhere. There's one. I'm using the flange ones because I don't think they need washers, and it should hopefully spread the tension a little bit. But like I said, I'm not doing them up properly yet. Now I know I haven't talked anything on this engine yet. A lot of things you can kind of feel out once you're used to it. So pretty much everything except that nut there. Probably the clutch nut. No, it doesn't have a clutch nut, it's a circlip, so forget that. That's why I didn't do it. But certainly this and the head nuts could probably do with talking down, just to make sure they're exactly even for the head nuts and to make sure that's not going to come off. But beyond that, it's kind of, you want to go as tight as you dare without stripping them, basically, or without stretching the threads. There we go. So it's just literally until they bottom out on the head, plus about a quarter turn. I'll come back to that, doing those properly later. So next, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So we have, this gasket goes straight on top of there. This gasket goes on top of here. And then it's like that. So I'm going to get some 2-stroke on those now as well. Yeah, I think these are like M6 by 10 or 15. These little bolts. There's 4. 4 of them. Yeah, they're about the same size. So we're going to go through all 4 of these on the intake, even this stubborn one. Okay, then we're going to go with the gasket. That's on there. Reed block. Other gasket. Does that point backwards? Yeah, that's correct. So it points towards the back of the engine. Quickly zip these in. There we go. Okay, so next up we've got this thing. It is a plug, essentially, and it's designed to blank off the oiler hole. Comes with an O-ring and 2 little screws, Allen screws as well. Brilliant. So and whatever that is, which is not one of mine. Pop this O-ring on. A little bit of 2-stroke on there as well, just to lubricate it on its way in. Pop it in the hole. That is the wrong way around. Right, okay. So it only goes in one way. Yes. The 2 baby Allen key bolts. Brilliant. Yes.